There are two components of space management: having your 2 to 3 second following distance in front of your vehicle and stopping in traffic 1 vehicle length from the vehicle in front of you. The reason we want to have the 2 to 3 second following distance is because space buys you time, time buys you options, options prevent crashes. We want to move away from being reactionary to responding to changing traffic conditions in front. We want to be looking as far down the road as possible and keeping that space so that we can respond accordingly. And we'll talk about how to get out of emergency situations in later lessons, but right now we want to create that space so that we have time to respond to what other traffic and road users are doing as we're driving along the roadway. And to maintain that space, you should be using the accelerator. The only time that you're using the brake is to slow down for turning, slowing down to stop, or behind other turning traffic, controlling your speed on a downhill, or emergency situations. For the rest of the time driving forward, you should be controlling space in front of your vehicle using just the throttle. The added bonus of this is reduced maintenance costs, which helps the fleet out, and in the end, everybody makes more money and you keep your job. So, 2 to 3 second following distance when you're driving in a forward motion and stopping in traffic 1 vehicle length back. Your landmark for that is to be able to see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the pavement. The reasons for this are several. First and foremost, it's defensive posturing against being rear-ended. If you're sitting there and you have that space in front of your vehicle, you're watching the center mirror behind, and somebody comes screaming up behind you, you can move forward, flash your brake lights by tapping the brake pedal. Oftentimes, that's enough to warn the car behind you. If you change your mind, you can drive out and around the vehicle in front without backing up. If the vehicle in front breaks down, same thing, you can drive out and around it. If the person in front of you is driving a manual transmission and rolls back when you're taking off from the light, they're not going to roll into you. And then finally, in the ideal world in which I live, if everybody stayed back 1 vehicle length, the whole cluster of cars could move off together and we would reduce congestion. Now, on the note of congestion, many people think that because if they keep space in front of their car, first and foremost, other people are going to cut in and take that space. Yes, they are, but not very often, and if they do, they're going faster than you anyway, so they're not going to be there for very long. The other thing about it is you're not driving slower, you're just keeping that space in front, and that's your priority, and you're actually reducing congestion because there's more space between the vehicles and everybody can do what they need to do when they're moving through the city. Last in terms of space management is left-hand turns. Too many people move into the intersection. If something happens and there's a crash in the intersection and you're in the intersection, you're in the crash. What we want you to do is to stay back so that you're at the edge of the intersection. Your landmark for that is the front steer tires on the front crosswalk line. When your gap presents itself behind the vehicle on the other side of the intersection, you start to move straight into the intersection. So the gap is behind the vehicle is approaching. When it hits the crosswalk on the other side of the intersection, you move straight into the intersection and then turn in behind the vehicle. This will reduce the amount of time that you are in the crosshairs of oncoming traffic and make you a safer, smarter driver. Space management, 2 to 3 seconds of following distance in front and 1 vehicle length back from the vehicle in front of you when you're stopped in traffic. Because if you're not near anything, it's less likely that you're going to hit anything. And we want to respond to changing traffic conditions. We don't want to react, and time will allow you to do that. In the next lesson, we're going to tell you how to control speed so that you can control space between you and other road user groups on the highway. We'll see you in the next lesson.